So I was watching this show and I was on YouTube and I was inspired to talk about it and break down from a relationship management, communications, and business development perspective what this conversation was really about. And the Sharp and Blue Jasmine go to war, insane argument on No Jumper. Big ups to the show and to everyone involved and just their participation. And for those that, are just watching from afar, we do appreciate everyone putting their mind at work as best they can to always move forward and progress for themselves and their families, loved ones, and communities. And so with that being said, I had to stop at the 47-minute, 14-second mark to really just speak on this topic here, dealing with mergers and acquisitions, because I really like Sharp's delivery in regards to the deeper message. And I appreciate him really being in a masculine scale, masculine energy for Blue Jasmine, who says traditionally she has to be in the masculine. She's in the masculine to extract what she needs and wants. And Blue and Sharp is recognizing that pretty much. Sharp is recognizing that you are in your masculine, but what he's coming from is a deeper masculine that pretty much gives her, if she can trust him, the opportunity for her to be feminine. So she's had, and I don't want to speak, and it's not my business, but she's making moves, she's surviving. And in biology, you have survival and you have reproduction. So she's surviving and she's trying to reproduce for herself and her loved ones and her family, I'm sure. And I'm speaking out of respect for all parties involved. And what Sharp is saying is a deeper opportunity here. And again, I'm not saying right or wrong in regards to what they're talking about, but I appreciate the message and what was going on. I had to stop at the 47-minute, 14-second mark. And so we're talking about here mergers and acquisitions, because he broke it down so cold that she's saying, hey, okay, well, what are the steps? Let me know the steps. And so I just wanted to kind of interject here as far as what, and again, Sharp's doing his thing, and I come respectfully, humbly, if I can speak on his behalf, and not directly, but just kind of what I believe he's saying in regards to what I felt from what he's saying is getting into what they call the merger and acquisition game. The merger and acquisition. So the ultimate goal is to acquire. I think what Sharp is saying, I feel. And in order to acquire something, a lot of times, especially if you didn't build it, you're going to have to merge. Either merge with the bigger opportunity or the same energy opportunity merging together to try to combine forces to get things done faster, produce faster, and on a larger, wider, expanded scale. But ultimately, I feel Sharp is talking about mergers and acquisitions. And I just want to stop at the 47-minute, 14-second mark. And appreciating, his energy and deeper message. And what I feel he was saying was basically doing a great job, but technically you're thinking on a small scale and you're not maximizing your opportunities and getting the things that, pretty much you're getting what you're acquiring from these situations are more so, according to Rich Dad Poor Dad, expenses and doodads, which ultimately end up becoming liabilities. Where he's saying, get the assets, the properties of the businesses that are producing. And so she's like, okay, well, maybe I never thought about that. He kind of opened up like, maybe I never thought about that in so many words. So now she's asking. And then basically, I feel what Sharp is saying is hitting with the merger and acquisition game. And there's certain steps to do that, and this is basically this conversation basically goes into business development, which is increasing your customer base, or community relations, which is basically increasing your presence in the community for yourself, for your personal brand and your business. And basically the steps of how to do that, I was inspired to take some time out, is one, when we're talking about mergers and acquisitions. She said, how do you do it? Okay, focus on what they call mergers and acquisitions. When you're talking about acquiring these things, you got to watch the show from 0 seconds to the 47-minute mark to really get where I'm coming from, because the energy and the engagement is so great that I just the algorithms kind of brought me here and I decided to watch it. And I appreciate, again, Sharp's strength and his message. And I appreciate Blue Jasmine's strength and her message, but also appreciate her basically through the strength of Sharp kind of getting into her feminine, basically saying, hey, okay, well, I definitely hear what you're saying. And I respect where you're coming from. How does this work? And if I could speak and represent Sharp, mergers and acquisitions, it's a steady stream from point A to point B to get an acquisition. in order to get a true acquisition, you can't have, when you start at point A to point B or point Z, whatever you want to call it, which is the end, when it gets from the input to the output, that's the point A to point B. In order to create a line, you have a process in between. And so basically, you have to have a steady, no hiccup, no wave stream from point A to the end point. So during that whole process, you got to come off as being a true strength, a true asset, which is producing something to where someone can really give you, true assets like property or businesses. And obviously you got to think about someone when you're playing that game higher end to where they have these assets in abundance. So giving them away is really not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Because sometimes in order to receive it, you may have to go as far as getting married, to really acquire. And I think what they're both talking about is basically getting those assets without having to make it exclusive. And so basically you're talking about higher end individuals that have several income streams and revenues that are generating from their assets to where they can give it away. And, it's not going to break them all compared to somebody that's built an asset, but that's the only one they truly have. And they're like, if I'm giving it away, you got to probably give me your time in return, in so many words, exclusively. And so ultimately, it's the steady stream from point A to the end point, from the input to the output, basically not being a challenge, bringing challenges, providing challenges or whatnot to the investor, pretty much. Bringing true, steady stream and peace of mind from the input to the output. You got to first keep that in mind. We're talking about mergers and acquisitions because you got to first merge. So in order to acquire, you got to merge. How do you merge? By basically now going from overstanding that it's going to take a steady stream of smoothness, no hiccups and no waves. Basically, the first way you actually get in the game is actually coming off to that investor that you're dealing with is, hey, I don't mean to be in your business. I really admire what you're doing. Is there any opportunity for me to learn? I would love to learn how to generate revenue and build my businesses. Is there any opportunities in your business where I can help do that? Now, they might hit you with, because they're flattered, you got to probably do this and do that, and you can get on. But we're talking about non-sexual, non-intimate, professional opportunities where you can hit them with that, and they may give you a shot. They might say, okay, we'll go in the mailroom. And you go in that mailroom and go into the next point. After you ask how you can be of service, you do a great job in that role. You have a great attitude and you deliver growth however best you can in that department. And you do it over a course of time to where they're watching you. You're probably still going through the process and, but at the same time, now you're getting involved in their world. Can you handle their world? Can you bring that same energy, passion, and respect that they brought to themselves into their world? Because there's nothing more attractive or talented than a feminine energy, if you're masculine, bringing to the table. And they're basically giving you that honor, if you will. And so that opens the door to the mindset of maybe we can work together. And then all of a sudden you become a part of something, possibly either through title or through ownership. But at some point, in order to truly acquire it, it's going to be passed off to you, or you're going to have some kind of share in that asset, either a business or property, if you will, if not through some percentage or the whole thing. So basically, you got to understand when you come into mergers and acquisitions, how do you actually do it? According to my man Sharp, you got to make sure it's a long game here. And sometimes the game is shorter than we think, but a lot of times expect the long game here, play it smooth, and know that it's going to take a while for that process to get to an output. But in that, you come off as, how do I get involved? How can I, you're doing this, I'm doing that. Or maybe you even hit them with, I did some research on you. I mean, I know we're doing this and doing that, but I really looked you up and just see who I'm dealing with. I really appreciate you going to this college or going and experiencing this, during your professional growth. Or, I just really impressed on your story. I didn't know that you, started off here, and that shows that you it's kind of like an interview. It's kind of like when it comes to getting and keeping a job. Just over broke though. And what Sharp is saying is, how do you build asset is what Sharp is saying. So I really appreciate that. And so ultimately, what he's saying is, how do you basically get on, do a great job in the position that they put you in. And that's how you build growth. And that's true value. And then ultimately, from there, as you get tighter, and Sharp mentioned it, I'm sure you're out there with their friends. He mentioned, a particular business owner that basically kind of went through some challenges to where they end up having to lose their business and not being able to participate in the activity. He mentioned that. And he mentioned, the young lady that kind of was pretty much involved in that to actually do that. And basically what the gentleman that kind of went through the rough patch basically was saying was, I have friends, mate. It was Sharp, I have friends that are in these positions. And as I get tighter with you, I might be talking about you more, and I want to represent and be honored around my network. And so what you did was basically didn't look good around my network. And so at the same time, after you ask how can you be of service, you do a great job and you do it consistently, you're bringing growth and value. You want to make sure that you're representing yourself to the highest standards for that individual around their network, be it friends, family, co-workers, whatever that's a part of their world. So they can fully trust and believe in you and believe in, that it's genuine. And if you can, I'm not saying the game is what Sharp is saying is, and what they're saying is you don't have to, can you do it without being exclusive? Can you do it in a way that's so smooth where they actually end up dropping you off certain assets and maybe you can move into a different, you ain't got to be exclusive with that person so you have the freedom. I think this is what they're really coming from. And that's one that I don't want to ramble too much, but I just think that was just a really great topic for Sharp and Blue Jasmine as far as their conversation, as far as their debate. And I appreciate Sharp's energy as far as not going too in and being respectful, to Blue Jasmine, and playing, laughing and just being real smooth. Great show and great master of ceremonies from my man of No Jumper here. I know he's been doing a lot of great work for a long time, and so that's just pretty much the idea of mergers and acquisitions from a personal level, but you can use it in business as we're talking community relations and business development. Thank you for following, subscribing, liking. And if you felt this message was worth anything to you, thank you for your financial donation, your monetary donation by clicking the link, as I am pretty much self-employed, moving into the business owner status and eventually moving to the investor stage. So understand where I'm coming from, appreciate, sympathize with me. And I thank you in advance for your support. And great show, guys, and all the best in all your personal lives and careers.